I'm John Hendrick, Senior Technical Writer for Wallaroo. This is the start of a video series showing how to use Wallaroo with a forecast ML model. We'll go from the creation of the model, basic deployment, using parallel inferences, configure data connections, and to top it all off, we're automating the whole process so we can run it on a regular schedule. For this, I'll be using a Wallaroo 2023.2.1 instance and a model that is trained to forecast bike rentals. If you want to run this yourself, the entire tutorial series is available on the Wallaroo Tutorials GitHub repository, and all the reference documentation used is available on the Wallaroo documentation site at docs.wallaroo.ai. And you can run it yourself using a free copy of Wallaroo Community, where you can download it right into your Kubernetes environment and start Wallarooing right along with me. To start off with, let's walk through creating the model, then deploying it into Wallaroo. Our sample model is a Python model, so you can look directly at the source code. I'm working with some reference data stored in a CSV file. We'll use that to create a simulated database table. You can see we have a lot of columns to work with to train our model. For our simulation, we'll start with March 1st, 2011, and gather the data from 1 month before that date. We train our model, then save the evaluation data for the next step of our process. So, we have our forecast model. Now let's deploy it into Wallaroo. If you've viewed any of our other tutorials before, there's a standard process that we'll follow here. We connect to the Wallaroo instance. I'm using the Jupyter Hub environment as part of the Wallaroo instance, so I can just connect locally. Create the workspace. This is the environment where models are uploaded to and pipelines are stored in. In my case, I have a helper function that either retrieves an existing workspace or creates a new one. Workspaces must have a unique name across the entire Wallaroo workspace. We upload our model into Wallaroo with the upload model method. Since this is a Python model, we'll tell the Wallaroo instance that the framework is Python, so the system knows how to handle it. We create a pipeline. Once again, I've got a helper function that either creates a new pipeline or uses an existing one with the same name. Then we add our model as a pipeline step. Pipeline steps let us set up models in sequence, so as the inference data goes from the input to the first model to the second model, etc. In this case, there's just the one model, so it's a fairly simple pipeline. Deploy the pipeline. What this step does is allocate resources from our cluster to our pipeline. This makes sure that when we do inferences, everything is ready for us. There's a little twist to this pipeline. I'm using the pipeline configuration you can see here to tell Wallaroo, when you make this pipeline, I want 0.25 CPUs allocated, 512 megabytes of RAM, and I want to have at least one replica and up to 5 replicas of the pipeline through autoscaling. This way, the pipeline can allocate more resources up or down depending on how many inference requests it's receiving at a time. Now, we'll run a sample inference. Remember the previous step when we exported the evaluation data? We're going to use that as our inference input test. We upload that file into a JSON object, then submit it to our deployed pipeline. And there's our expected results. So now we know everything is ready to start really doing some inferences off this model. Finally, I'm going to undeploy the pipeline and return the resources back to the cluster. This was a simple demonstration, but as mentioned, it's only the first part of an entire series. Other videos will show more interesting ways of getting data for inference requests, performing parallel inferences so you can submit multiple data frames at once, and finally, automation. If you want to try this tutorial and others from the Wallaroo Tutorial GitHub repository, you can do that using a free Wallaroo Community Edition. Go download the license, and you can deploy it right into your own Kubernetes environment. I'm John Hendrick, Senior Technical Writer for Wallaroo, and after this video, I have a forecast of more awesome. See you next time.